The Doctor wasn't just a Doctor. Designed by Louis Zimmerman, the emergency medical hologram was a technological marvel. Programmed with over 5 million medical protocols, thousands of reference sources, the experience of 47 medical officers, and the medical knowledge of over 3,000 cultures. In short, the Doctor was the medical database. Many in Voyager's crew would have questioned his self-proclaimed splendid bedside manner, especially in the beginning. At first, some treated the Doctor like a walking, talking library, though he soon became a valued colleague and friend, and a champion for holographic rights. On the way home, a gift from the future freed the Doctor from sickbay. Other upgrades and subroutines led to opera and sexual relations. In the Alpha Quadrant, he continued his career as both a Doctor and a mentor to a group of aspiring cadets. The Doctor has served on 2 starships Voyager and the Dauntless in between. He might get to step aboard the Voyager J in the upcoming Starfleet Academy. We should probably get to know this galactic golfer a bit better before the back 9, so to quote the Doctor himself, how much dirt do you need? I'm Sean Ferrick for TrekCulture, and here are 10 things you didn't know about the Doctor. Number 10. No for Neelix. It now seems impossible to imagine anyone other than Robert Picardo as the Doctor. Before January 1995, Picardo didn't, in fact, want the part. In rehearsals for a play at the time, Picardo wasn't technically available for TV either. That didn't stop him from auditioning for the brand new Star Trek show, just not for its EMH. I didn't get the joke, Picardo admitted on the DVD extra Voyager time capsule The Doctor, noting, I read the audition scene and the Doctor character was described as colourless, humourless and a computer program of a Doctor. That didn't sound like much fun. I didn't see how that could be a rewarding experience to play. Picardo had his eye firmly set on another character, Neelix. Picardo did indeed read for Voyager's cook-in-chief, but producers turned him down. They were still keen for him to try out for Voyager's misanthropic medic. Picardo managed to sneak in a little improvisation, which he has credited with getting him the job. Number 9. Magnetism and Moriarty. EMH is an acronym by now as familiar to us as EPS and LLAP. First used in cathexis, EMH has enjoyed several 3-letter spin-offs, from ECH to LMH, EEH to ETH. In the Star Trek Voyager series Bible, though, the Doctor was an experimental medical program, or EMP. EMP was then also used in the Star Trek Voyager beat outlined by Rick Berman, Michael Piller and Jerry Taylor, dated 13th of April 1994. Precisely why the term was dropped in favour of EMH is unclear, though in the real world EMP also stands for electromagnetic pulse. Computer, activate the EMP might have been a little confusing. Speaking of magnetism, the Doctor was always more than a mere projection of light held in a magnetic containment field, as Tom Paris put it in Phage. In a series of notes from 1993, published in Star Trek Voyager, A Vision of the Future, Jerry Taylor pointed out that the new state-of-the-art technology of the Holo Doctor had capitalised on the serendipitous incident which created Moriarty. The Doctor was, of course, never so evil, except when he was. Without ethical subroutines, the Doctor was not Moriarty, he was Mr. Hyde. Number 8. Zimmerman's Man. We're not talking about Leonard, the holographic iguana, and also part parrot, or poor Roy, squashed too soon. We're talking about Reginald Reg Barclay, possible acolyte of Dr. Louis Zimmerman, himself the father of modern holography, creator of the EMH. For its entry on him, the Star Trek Encyclopedia 3rd edition states that Barclay left the Enterprise D and transferred to the Holo Programming Center at Starfleet's Jupiter Station. He worked with Dr. Louis Zimmerman on the engineering team that designed Starfleet's emergency medical hologram. Outside of the malfunctions in projections, we don't really know whether Barclay was involved in the creation of the EMH. Early in the development process for Star Trek Voyager, writers and producers had considered Barclay not only for the designer of the EMH, but also as the face of the program. In her notes from 1993, Jerry Taylor wrote, "A possibility is to consider Dwight Schultz. Barclay would have been working on this program and finally takes a leave to put on the polishing touches on a TNG episode. He creates the character in his own image." Had they gone with that option, and if the Ferengi co-opted Holo Barclay from Inside Man was anything to go by, we'd have got as many impressions, but a lot less golf. Number 7. Van Gogh to Joe. Fun fact alert! Jack saw Endgame surrounded by a few hundred others at a Star Trek convention in 2001. When the alternate future Doctor announced his choice of name, and with all due respect to Lana's grandfather, everyone laughed. 33 years was a long time to come up with Joe, but more than good enough to elope on. The Doctor's quest for a moniker other than his title, or Hey You, had been so integral to Star Trek Voyager, any choice would have proved odd, though not as odd as Van Gogh, or Mozart for that matter. Before the beginning, however, the Doctor already had a name. In the Star Trek Voyager series Bible, he was simply called Doc Zimmerman, in honour of Herman Zimmerman, the legendary Star Trek art director and production designer. Doc Zimmerman made it into the script for Caretaker and others throughout Season 1, though never to dialogue. The name featured in promotional material for Voyager, as well as in the Star Trek Voyager technical manual. Picardo told The Companion in 2023 that opening credits were even made which read Doc Zimmerman played by Robert Picardo. Before the premiere of Voyager's pilot, Picardo asked if he could choose a name for the EMH. Rick Berman agreed. As such, Doc Zimmerman simply became The Doctor. Picardo concluded to The Companion, "In that moment, I unwittingly ripped off 50 years of British science fiction television. I had no idea." Number 6. Nightlife of a Nightlight. Much to the chagrin of Neelix and company in Demon, the Doctor was a night owl. Don't snore whilst Puccini is playing. Not content with merely listening to opera, Voyager's EMH was proficient at singing it. One question most often asked of Robert Picardo is, did he do his own? The answer to which is yes, in the main. Picardo was, in fact, largely responsible for the Doctor's musical interest in the first place. As the actor noted in Star Trek Voyager: A Celebration, I suggested to Jerry Taylor that the Doctor be an opera fan. I thought it would be funny that a character with no emotional palate at all would be a fan of the most passionate form of human expression. Why would this machine be listening to opera? As for the actual singing, only in Virtuoso did a professional tenor, Agostino Castagnola, take over to perform Verdi's distinctly challenging Dio c'è nell'ama infondere and Vincenzo di Crescendo's Rondine al Nido. Picardo did the rest, operatic or otherwise, throughout Voyager's run. Synapses blazing. Most recently, in 2025, Picardo reenacted the Verdi duet alongside operatic tenor Arturo Chasson Cruz at the Vienna Synchron stage, with live orchestra conducted by composer and Voyager fan Stefan Schmidt. The pair also gave a very special performance of La Donna è mobile, including alternate, though not entirely illogical, lyrics. Fun fact as well, that I, while on the Star Trek cruise, watched them both perform it on stage. Number 5. Love and mentorship. Platonic, romantic, and schmollus to Dinar Appel, the Doctor has had many loves over the years. His latest was a hint of something between him and Hollow Janeway in Star Trek Prodigy. There was familial love for him too. In real life, he created his own family on the holodeck. Then, in Lifeline, he travelled halfway across the galaxy for a paternal connection. Robert Picardo also received a writing credit for Lifeline, becoming the first Star Trek cast member to do so, in a live-action series after Walter Koenig was credited on writing for Star Trek the Animated Series. Leonard Nimoy, William Shatner, and later Brent Spiner and Simon Pegg wrote for live-action scenes, though each of their credits was assigned to the Star Trek movies. Inspiration for Lifeline came from the 1968 play and later film I Never Sang for My Father, which centres around the conflict and mutual disappointment between a father and son. The Doctor wouldn't sing for Zimmerman on Jupiter Station, but he did eventually earn his creator, his father's, respect. A stranger to his own subroutines at first, the Doctor found a confidant in Kes. When the Ocampan left Voyager for higher planes, roles were reverse. 7 of 9 was the resistant pupil. Behind the scenes, Picardo was once more the impetus for the change, this time in the mentor-mentee dynamic. He told StarTrek.com in 2022, "I went to Brannon and suggested that we take the relationship that the Doctor had had with Kes and we turn it around. So the Doctor thinks that the best person to teach 7 of 9 how to become human again is him. That he's a better teacher on how to be a human being than a real human being." Picardo went on to note that it would not have been appropriate at all for the Doctor and 7 to end up together. Picardo did add jokingly that he thought it was a little strange that they paired her with Chakotay at the last minute. Number 4. Emitterphobia. The failure of the Temporal Integrity Commission was a win for Voyager's EMH. With the advanced emitter, the Doctor was permanently footloose and fancy-free as of 2373. Though the mobile emitter was a liberation, it was also at times a burden, allegorized as a small shuttlecraft in Author. For Robert Picardo, confinement to sickbay wasn't a burden but a bonus. He told StarTrek.com in 2022, "I think it was actually a benefit for me, because it made the character unique and captured the audience's imagination. As an actor, I benefited from the character's limitations because it set him apart in the audience's mind." At first, therefore, Picardo thought the introduction of the mobile emitter was quite simply a bad idea. He soon warmed to the Doctor's newfound liberty. Brannon Braga was right. The emitter opened up a whole new storytelling vista, and I was the first to tell him that I was wrong. In the history of Star Trek Online, the Doctor had to bring legal proceedings against Starfleet in 2382 to prevent his mobile emitter from being confiscated for study. The following year, in-game, the Sung Foundation, a group linked to the Daystrom Institute, started its own mobile emitter R&D project. A mobile emitter was used in the Star Trek Picard episode Imposters, suggesting the technology had been reverse-engineered by the 25th century. Number 3. The Hollow of Hollow Novelists. As Voyager edged its way closer to Earth, the Doctor decided to put holographic quill to paper. The result in Author wasn't the literary opus of the century, but then neither was the decidedly low brow of a certain Thomas E. Paris. Author was, in essence, Measure of a Man for holographic rights. That wasn't the episode's only inspiration. Around the time of Star Trek Voyager's 7th season, Robert Picardo had been approached to write his own Star Trek book, which became a holograms handbook. When Brannon Braga found out the Doctor was writing a book, he wrote an episode of the Doctor writing a book. Picardo told StarTrek.com in 2024, Author was a writer's in-joke. Braga also provided the introduction for a holograms handbook, a fascinating insight into a beloved character, or 100-page cry for help as Braga called it jokingly. A holograms handbook does tell us everything we could possibly want to know about the Doctor, from initial activation to anatomical correctness, and the dreaded Ds, deactivation, decompilation, deletion. Number 2. Book of Rights. It's quite provocative, said one reprogrammed EMH to another on Federation dilithium processing facility at the end of Author. As the Federation arbiter had noted, the issue of holographic rights isn't going to go away. For the time being in canon, however, it mostly has. When the Doctor stepped out of the shuttle in Star Trek Prodigy's Into the Breach Part 1, about 6 years had passed since Voyager's return to Earth. Now Chief Medical Officer aboard the Voyager A, the Doctor was outwardly treated as an equal to those made of flesh and blood. To a large extent, so was Holo Janeway. Beta canon has provided more detail about holographic rights over the years, starting with the Voyager relaunch novels set directly after Endgame. In the first 2 of the series, Christy Golden's Homecoming and The Farther Shore, the Doctor inspires, somewhat in spite of himself, a holo revolution led by the non-holographic Oliver Baines. In the standalone novel Articles of the Federation, the Doctor was made a citizen of the Federation upon Voyager's return in 2378. The autobiography of Catherine Janeway, as edited by Dr. Una McCormack, goes one step further, noting that once the Doctor was home, he was granted personhood and promptly resigned from Starfleet to champion the cause of photonic rights. Number 1. Stronger AI. Do you often feel you are the only intelligent one in a universe of idiots? Do others fail to recognize your brilliance? Are you as deserving of love as an individual can be? If you've responded in the affirmative to these queries, you are probably an advanced artificial intelligence. That wasn't ChatGPT. That was the opener to the Holograms Handbook, by the Doctor as told to Robert Picardo. In 2025, AI in one form or another is now everywhere. Only over the past 2 years or so, the development of generative models has skyrocketed. Assuming we can arrive at a good definition of sentience in the first place, we're likely not far off the self-aware kind. Any doomsday scenarios are only as likely as we can imagine them to be, or far more perversely, as we want them to be. On the contrary, Star Trek has taught us, in this case via the Doctor, that AI need not be an existential threat, and that its practical applications can benefit us all. AI is already revolutionizing modern medicine in areas such as disease detection and diagnosis, protein folding predictions, and drug development. Voyager's Doctor is also serving as inspiration and as a point of caution. For example, the 2021 paper Artificial Intelligence in Medicine in the journal Early Human Development cited the Doctor as an instance of strong AI, that is, with consciousness and intentionality. Weak AI, by comparison, lacks the range of human cognitive skills and intentionality. The 2020 paper, Evil Doctor, Ethical Android, Star Trek's instantiation of conscience in subroutines, from the same journal, argued, via the EMH and data, that ethical subroutines may be vital to our continued existence, irrespective of whether the machine intelligences constitute strong or weak AI. In 2024, Robert Picardo told Inverse that he had been interviewed about a year and a half ago by a Harvard medical researcher who was writing a book on artificial intelligence in medicine. That doctor was penning an entire chapter on the EMH because he had watched Star Trek Voyager as a young man. Please state the nature of the medical emergency might still be far off, even far-fetched. Whatever we think of it, AI isn't going anywhere. and so we'd better learn the right lessons. Voyager's Doctor has already provided a lot of them. AI is also La Vita Nuova, or here begins a new life. Thank you so much for watching along, folks, and thank you so much to Jack, who wrote the article that this is based on. You can catch that over on whatculture.com. You have been wonderful, you have been awesome, and please treat yourself the way you and the EMH would like to be treated. Please make sure that you're subscribed to the channel and follow us on the various socials. We are at TrekCulture, we're at TrekCultureYT on Instagram, and I have been at Sean Ferrick. Until I see you again, look after yourself, live long and prosper, and thank you so much.